Chapter 1320 The Return of the Masters. How could this happen? That can't be. Are these reports accurate? What's wrong with this world? How could so many golden immortal level geniuses suddenly appear? Is this real? Panic. Inside the largest hall of the Shilling family, more than a dozen elders were in a state of unprecedented panic. Just a few days ago, they were cheering for the emergence of a peerless genius with an 8th grade bloodline in the Shilling family. At that time, they thought that winning first place in the Golden Feather Gathering was a piece of cake. But who could have imagined that everything would change just a few days later? Everyone panicked. Everyone, please calm down. Xianxia struggled to stand up from his seat and said, "So much has happened these past few days, we need to stabilize the situation first. There are so many things to deal with right now, we have to get them done. The first one is Xianxia. You must go into seclusion right now and try to raise your cultivation to the 8th level of the Golden Immortal Realm by the time the Golden Feather Gathering is held." "Are you confident?" Xianxia cupped his hands and said, "Yes, Elder, I have confidence. Because I had already comprehended many great Dao techniques during my Xianxia stage, I don't need to break through Dao barriers during my early Golden Immortal stage. I will definitely be unstoppable." "All right, go." Xianxia waved his hand, and the holy son of Xianxia left. After Xianxia's saint son left, the Shilling family continued, "No matter what, Xianxia is still an 8th grade bloodline. 10 people will be selected to travel to the Great Horned Immortal Realm at this Golden Feather Gathering. Although there are geniuses everywhere, our Shilling family might just be able to secure a spot." Upon hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. After all, there are 10 spots available. Next, Xianxia said, "There are 2 things that must be dealt with immediately. The first thing is to find He Pingxing, the one who slayed Xianxia. No matter what, we must find him. The second thing is Luo Bingyao's master. That guy is incredibly skilled, we've already fought him. If the ancestor doesn't make a move, it will be difficult for us to kill him. Should we give him this territory of Guangmu Immortal City? We need to come up with a plan today." Next, everyone in the hall began to discuss the matter animatedly. Shilling Yezhu advocated giving up Guangmu Immortal City. After all, He Pingxing was not someone to be trifled with, and he had personally fought against He Pingxing before. However, many of the other elders had not witnessed He Pingxing's terrifying power, so their attitude was very firm, and they believed that they absolutely should not give it to him. Finally, Xianxia recounted the battle with He Pingxing, and everyone fell silent. Then everyone unanimously decided to give Guangmu Immortal City to He Pingxing and his disciple Luo Bingyao first, and then wait until the ancestor came out of seclusion before dealing with the hidden danger of He Pingxing. After more than 10 days of heavy snowfall, the sky suddenly cleared up one evening. On a certain mountain peak of the 5 Elements Immortal sect, all that could be seen was a vast expanse of white, yet there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. The sky was clear and blue, a deep, clear blue. A raptor, about 10 feet in size, suddenly soared into the sky from the top of an old pine tree on the nearby cliff. The pine tree swayed precariously under the attack of the bird of prey, and clumps of snow fell, only to be blown away by the mountain wind and turn into snowflakes. Further away, a majestic mountain revealed its ridge, and when the sunset glowed, one side of the mountain seemed to be plated with a layer of gold. What a magnificent sight, the sun shining on the golden mountains. On a rock on a cliff, He Pingxing, dressed in a blue robe, lay leisurely on a recliner, swaying back and forth, looking quite content. Now, his cultivation has reached the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage. And the day of the Golden Feather Gathering is not far off. The reason why he secluded himself for over 1,360 years and only broke through 2 levels lies in the word enlightenment. Enlightenment is difficult, more difficult than ascending to heaven. For He Pingxing, comprehending the laws of time is even more difficult. He Pingxing broke through the Dao barriers of the 7th and 8th levels of the Golden Immortal stage by comprehending the great Dao of time. Having grasped some of the principles of time, his time paralysis ability, after several modifications and enhancements, is finally usable. Moreover, during his many years of seclusion, He Pingxing did not only break through 2 levels, but he also cultivated his divine sense to the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage and his body refinement to the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage. I still need to get a cultivation technique for refining the spirit. He Pingxing muttered to himself. The one I'm currently cultivating only goes on after I finish the Tai Golden Immortal chapter. Just then, a red light flew down from the sky and landed in front of He Pingxing. Father! A woman dressed in a bright red Taoist robe looked at He Pingxing with a face full of joy. Upon seeing the woman, He Pingxing smiled and said, "Yuqing, you've been in seclusion for so long. Has your cultivation improved? Come, let your old man take a look." Yuqing looked a little embarrassed and said, "Dad, no, I'm too stupid." That's right. He Pingxing has found another child. That's He Yuqing. Back when He Pingxing was in the spirit world, he participated in the stone platform gathering and had a virtual daughter, He Yuqing, with the great Luanming king, who was mistakenly in his dream. Later, the great Luanming king and He Pingxing actually got together, and the daughter they had was almost identical to the daughter in the dream, so she was also named He Yuqing. He Yuqing also ascended to immortality. However, when He Pingxing found He Yuqing 1,000 years ago, her cultivation had only reached the peak of the Earth Immortal stage. Over the years, under the deliberate guidance of He Pingxing and Kong Jiaojiao, this girl's cultivation has broken through, reaching the Celestial Immortal stage. However, even after 1,000 years of cultivation, she had only reached the 2nd level of the Celestial Immortal stage. He Yuqing said she was stupid, but she wasn't actually stupid, she just had limited talent. No way. God is unfair. Although they are all He Pingxing's children, not all of them can be exceptionally gifted. No rush. He Pingxing smiled slightly, patted his daughter's shoulder, and said, "The Celestial Immortal stage has a lifespan of 1,000,000 years, so you can cultivate slowly. I believe that one day you will reach the Xianxia realm. Once she reaches the Xianxia realm, there's nothing to fear. He Pingxing can give her the top grade, Fuji Jechin Dan. Even if it's like pulling up seedlings to help them grow, he can still pull his daughter to the Tai Jinxian realm, right?" "Yes. I know, Father." He Yuqing nodded. To be frank, He Yuqing's talent is not low. Many people spend tens of thousands of years but still cannot break through the shackles of the human immortal realm, thus exhausting their lifespan and perishing. He Yuqing has already broken through from human immortal to earth immortal and then to celestial immortal, making her a dragon among men, outstanding and exceptional. He was just a little inferior to He Pingxing's other children and apprentices. "Father, there's more good news." He Yuqing said with a smile, "Brother Xianxia has been found." "What?" He Pingxing was slightly surprised. "Xianxia has been found. Where? Take me there quickly." He Xianxia. This is He Pingxing's first child, born to him and Su Zhanzhan. Chapter 1321 Heaven and Earth are ruthless, human life is fleeting. Call out. He Pingxing followed He Yuqing, and the two transformed into streaks of light, sweeping across the azure sky after the heavy snow, and soon appeared in the reception hall of the Five Elements Immortal sect. "Your son, He Xianxia, greets Father." Thump. The moment He Xianxia saw He Pingxing, he immediately knelt down and bowed. He Pingxing nodded, trying to suppress the turmoil in his heart, and said, Good child, get up." He Xianxia stood up. He was born handsome and rugged, and his appearance was more inherited from his mother, Su Zhanzhan. Now, having spent 10,000 years struggling in this immortal realm, this guy's face is full of determination. He is even taller than He Pingxing and exudes the aura of a true man. Looking at their cultivation level, they are not to be underestimated. They have actually reached the 3rd level of the Golden Immortal realm. Okay. He Pingxing couldn't help but nod in admiration, patted his son's shoulder a few times, and said, "You're something else. You've reached the Golden Immortal realm all by yourself." He Xianxia said, "I was quite lucky. After ascending, I came directly to Li Miyuan's side and even joined one of our human race's major sects. I grew up in the sect and later became an elder's disciple, so my cultivation went relatively smoothly. But why didn't Father ascend to the same place as me?" Back in the spirit realm, He Pingxing personally led Xianxia to the ascension platform at Qianwang Mountain to ascend to heaven. The two also agreed to fly to the same place in the future. Behind the heavenly connection stele, Xianxia chose the 10,800th ascension location. Therefore, Xianxia is now questioning his father. He Pingxing shook his head and said, "Later, many things happened in the spirit realm. I did not ascend in the spirit realm, but was forced to enter a small world and ascend in that small world. So I was unable to ascend to the same place as you." Xianxia asked, "Where is my mother?" He Pingxing sighed deeply and said, "When I ascended, she hadn't yet, but I estimate that her luck wasn't enough. Perhaps, from beginning to end, she never managed to reach the peak of the Mahayana Emperor realm." Not only Su Zhanzhan, He Pingxing also suspected that Zhu Qingmai, Shihu, and others had not ascended to immortality. "I understand." A few tears rolled down Xianxia's cheeks as he said, "Father, actually, just recently, I suddenly felt an extreme pain in my heart. At that moment, a thought flashed through my mind, and I knew, perhaps Mother is no longer here." Upon hearing this, He Pingxing felt as if something had been drained from him. He met Su Zhanzhan and they became Daoist partners. It began by chance and was driven by desire, but in the end, it also developed into a deep affection. He Pingxing had thought about Su Zhanzhan's fate, but the day had come suddenly, and he still felt somewhat sad. Before his hazy eyes, scenes from countless years ago appeared. At that time, He Pingxing was just a minor foundation establishment cultivator, and he met Su Zhanzhan for the first time in an underground trading market. The beautiful woman in the blue Taoist robe seemed to have appeared before him again. She sat opposite He Pingxing, looking vibrant and alluring, waved her hand, and took out 2 jade pendants, one black and one white. The black one is a qualification token for entering the 5 Dragon Valley secret realm. With this, you can directly board the ship and head to Western Shu County. The white one is a life or death token. If you encounter danger in the 5 Dragon Valley secret realm, you can crush it and instantly teleport from the secret realm to the entrance. This is a set. Take a look. He Pingxing's nose tingled, and tears streamed down his face. The hazy memories before my eyes have been shattered. Their voices and smiles remain unchanged, yet they are now worlds apart. If you calculate carefully, it has been more than 10,000 years since He Pingxing ascended to heaven. Therefore, it is not surprising that Su Zhanzhan died of old age. "Husband, don't get agitated. Come, sit down." The great king of Luanming walked over and led He Pingxing to sit in the main seat of the hall. He Pingxing waved his hand, "Come over here, and sit down." Everyone settled down. Inside the room were King Dia Luanming, as well as He Yuqing, He Qianyu, and He Xianxia. "We're all one family." He Pingxing began with some difficulty. "I have never felt so sad on my journey of cultivation. My loved ones, my masters, fellow disciples, and even my students in the cultivation and spirit worlds, I don't know how many of them have returned to dust. But none of this can sway my heart. I am unaware of his circumstances, nor have I personally experienced them. But now, my 2 children are dead, my Daoist partner has perished, and only heaven and earth know the sorrow I feel today. It wasn't just Su Zhanzhan who died. There are also He Pingxing's other 2 children. According to He Yuqing, she had actually met her younger brother and sister years ago. They were the 2 children born to the 2nd king of Dalaming, one named He Qianni and the other He Xianxia. Unfortunately, things didn't go well for the 2 of them after they ascended to heaven. He Qianni died in an ancient ruin while searching for an opportunity, and He Xianxia, who was exceptionally intelligent at a young age, also perished before He Pingxing could find him. If He Pingxing had arrived in Li Muyuan 1,000 years earlier, perhaps he would still be able to see this sun. Unfortunately, he was too late. He Xianxia was exceptionally intelligent during the human immortal stage, but ultimately perished. Fortunately, he did not die a violent death, but rather passed away peacefully in his sleep. Heaven and earth are heartless, and human life is fleeting. The great king of Luanming said with emotion, "In fact, we are all the same. If we cannot cultivate to the highest level, we may seem to live a long life today, but one day we will all return to dust." My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. Everyone, cherish the present moment. Don't be sad. All right. Xianxia nodded. I will follow my aunt's teachings. Pingxing asked, what rank does Xianxia hold? Xianxia cupped his hands and said, Father, your son has the foundation of a 6th rank official. 6th rank is not bad. Pingxing smiled. With a 6th rank, you're guaranteed to reach the Tai Golden Immortal Realm in the future. As for the Deluo Golden Immortal Realm, that depends on fate. As he spoke, Pingxing glanced at his other son, Qianyu. Before his breakthrough, Qianyu consumed a top-grade Fuji Jetchen pill. After breaking through to the Golden Immortal Realm, his foundation was only at the 6th rank, which was incomparable to the top geniuses. However, compared to ordinary people, they are far superior. At the very least, they are beings capable of cultivating to the level of Tai Golden Immortal. The Golden Feather Gathering is about to begin. What are your thoughts? Pingxing asked Xianxia. Xianxia said, Father, I am not qualified to participate. I. He smiled bitterly. My standard heavenly gate formation has not reached the 9th level of 99 points. Me neither. Qianyu added. Pingxing frowned and asked, what were your scores? Xianxia said, I currently only have the cultivation level of the 3rd level of the Golden Immortal stage. In the last test, I reached the 9th level with 83 points. If my cultivation level can reach the 8th or even 10th level, I think I should be able to reach the 9th level with 99 points. Qianyu said, Father, I am a 2nd level Golden Immortal. In the last test, I scored 88 points at the 9th level. Pingxing roughly knew what was going on. To reach the 9th level of the Golden Immortal stage in the standard heavenly gate formation, one should have at least a 6th grade bloodline foundation and a cultivation level of at least the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage. Otherwise, it's impossible. What are your plans, my husband? Kong Jiaojiao asked Pingxing. I heard that the Golden Feather Gathering will begin in a few months, and many prodigies have already set off for the Immortal Emperor City. When does my husband plan to set off? Pingxing looked at everyone and said, I can set off whenever I want, but I'm worried about you all. What if the Shilling family comes while I'm gone? Wouldn't you all be doomed? I've already lost several loved ones, and I don't want to lose any more. Therefore, I plan to take you all with me to the Golden Feather Gathering this time. Would you be willing? Chapter 1322 Immortal Emperor City Rise. Pingxing, standing in the void, shouted loudly. He directly uprooted a massive mountain outside the 5 Elements Immortal sect. At the summit of a towering mountain, there are countless buildings. The main hall and buildings are complete, and the pavilions and towers are all present. There is even a waterfall cascading down from the sky atop the massive mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, Pingxing stored the massive mountain in the magical space of his primordial purple gold staff. All right. Pingxing said, now you have a place to cultivate in seclusion and comprehend the Tao, but it's a pity that there are no immortal veins in these mountains. But it doesn't matter, I've placed over 1,000 high-grade immortal crystals on the mountain peak, which is enough to provide abundant immortal energy. Pingxing looked at his children with a smile. Then, Xianxia, Qianyu, Yuqing, Kong Jiaojiao and the other 2 all entered. In this way, Pingxing can take his wife and children with him at all times. Once we arrive in the Immortal Emperor City, it won't be too late to settle them there if we find a place to stay. This primordial purple gold cudgel has been upgraded again after Pingxing fed it a drop of grade 6, 3 light spirit liquid, some time ago. It's now roughly equivalent to a 6th grade immortal artifact. Master, can we go now? Luo Bingyao asked Pingxing. Pingxing waved his hand, opening up the celestial ship in the void. Then, taking Luo Bingyao with him, he used a space-folding technique to fly away instantly. Half an hour later, they arrived at the first major city on Li Muyuan, Immortal Emperor City. From the void, only a corner of this enormous Immortal Emperor City can be seen. There's no end in sight. Even when Pingxing extended his divine sense, covering a distance of hundreds of thousands of miles in a single thought, he still could not cover the entire immortal Emperor City. Even then, it could only cover a corner of the immortal Emperor City. Within this tiny corner, there are already countless streets and houses, and even many mountains and peaks with extremely abundant immortal energy. That's right, there are mountains in the city, and cities in the mountains. This is the basic layout of immortal Emperor City. Dozens of golden streaks of light continuously hovered and flew above the entire immortal Emperor City. He Pingxing knew that these were patrolling guards, as immortals were not allowed to fly freely in this immortal Emperor City. Master, it's so big. Luo Bingyao looked at the immortal Emperor City in front of her, so shocked that she could hardly speak. He Pingxing was a little confused. No, you've been here in Li Muyuan for a long time, but you've never been to immortal Emperor City. No. Luo Bingyao shook her head and said, you've been here for over 1,000 years, and you've never come before, have you? He Pingxing nodded. That makes sense, but Luo Bingyao, you're good at arguing. Hehehe. Luo Bingyao said with a grin, doesn't this just show that Master is approachable? Come on, your disciple will take you into the city. The two landed at a city gate. This immortal Emperor City no longer distinguishes between east, west, south, and north gates, because there are dozens of gates in each direction. It landed randomly somewhere. Senior, please show your ascension token. The guards at the entrance only stopped He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao. He fixed his gaze on Luo Bingyao, his tone respectful. According to the guard, Luo Bingyao's cultivation level was higher. Luo Bingyao took out the ascension token. He Pingxing also took out his own. Upon seeing their ascension tokens, the guard smiled and said, so, you two seniors have come to participate in the Golden Feather Gathering. That's wonderful. Best wishes. Please come in. From now on, Immortal Emperor City will always welcome you. The Immortal City on Li Muyuan's wall will only be blocked the first time you enter. Once you enter more often, you won't be stopped. Thank you. He Pingxing led Luo Bingyao into the city. A bustling and prosperous atmosphere rushed towards us. Truly worthy of being called the Immortal Emperor City. Luo Bingyao exclaimed. Putting everything else aside, just the aura here is extraordinary, and there are so many people. Master, where are we going? As soon as they entered the city, many low-level demonic beasts or vehicles came to He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao. Because flying is not allowed in the city, many people have to rely on this as their mode of transportation. Luo Bingyao waved her hand and said, no need, we are golden immortals. Upon hearing this, those people naturally left immediately. After all, golden immortals can teleport. He Pingxing thought for a moment and said, I don't know either. Why don't we go check out the core area first? There's still some time before the Golden Feather Gathering. I'll find a place to go into seclusion first. If I can buy a mountain peak, I might want to live here for a long time in the future. He Pingxing's idea was simple. The larger the city, the more resources it has, and the more concentrated those resources are. For practitioners, it would naturally be better to settle down here. He had purchased a mountain peak once back in the floating light immortal city of Xianxia Immortal Enclosure. I believe it should be available for purchase here as well. It's simply a matter of spending more resources. Luo Bingyao was acting like a well-behaved girl at this moment. I'll listen to Master. Next, the two teleported 7 or 8 times in one go before finally arriving at the core area of the Immortal Emperor City. Not only is there a towering, solitary immortal mountain here, but legend has it that there is also an Immortal Emperor's palace on this mountain, said to be the main body and avatar of the Immortal Emperor Li Mu, who resides on this immortal peak. Around Immortal Peak, there are 4 more City Lord mansions. There are 4 City Lord mansions, located in the east, west, south, and north. Each City Lord mansion only governs a part of this Immortal Emperor City. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. Besides the City Lord's mansion, there are hundreds of merchant guilds, shops, tea houses, and so on. Across the wide street to the north of the 4 City Lords' mansions, there is another huge square. The square was tens of thousands of feet long and wide, with shops and chambers of commerce on both sides. Further into the distance, one after another, mythical mountains appear and disappear within the city. Let's take a look around first. Since there was still some time before the Golden Feather Gathering, He Pingxing was quite relaxed. Oh, by the way, Luo Bingyao, do you have a jade token to qualify for the Golden Feather Gathering? Luo Bingyao rolled her eyes at He Pingxing and said sarcastically, "Oh, you didn't just think of this now, did you?" He Pingxing chuckled somewhat awkwardly. "Don't worry, no matter what, I will definitely make sure you can participate." Here. Luo Bingyao took out a purple jade token and said, "I've got it, you don't need to worry about it anymore." It's open, it's open, it's open. The breach has been opened. Gentlemen, you may place your bets now. As he walked, He Pingxing saw a huge hall on the north side of the street. 2 lanterns, each about 10 feet in size, hung at the entrance of the main hall, with a large character for gamble written on them. "Master, this is the betting ranking for the Golden Feather Tournament. Let's go take a look, so we can understand our main competitors." Luo Bingyao said seriously. He Pingxing nodded. "Let's go." The two followed the flow of people into the casino. Once inside, I realized that the casino was a completely different world inside. At first glance, it looks like a fairy tea house. Anyone who comes here, whether or not they place a bet, can get a seat to drink tea. At a glance, the entire hall was filled with hundreds of tables occupied by people drinking tea. In the very center of the main hall was a huge counter, behind which stood a man who looked like a shopkeeper. Above the shopkeeper's head was a light array that displayed images on all 4 sides. On the light membrane, a string of names and odds flashed. Chapter 1323 Han Hoji. I'll fuck your grandma. "Sir, there's an empty seat over there, let's sit down." Luo Bingyao pulled He Pingxing along. The two walked through the bustling hall and found an empty seat. Whispers and occasional bursts of laughter filled the hall. As soon as they sat down, a woman in a pink Taoist robe came over and poured spiritual tea for He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao with a smile. He Pingxing took a sip. The spiritual tea is just ordinary spiritual tea, there's nothing special about it. He put down his spirit teacup and looked at the slightly overweight shopkeeper behind the counter in the center. The shopkeeper was smiling as he traded with all sorts of people who came to him. Each time a transaction is made, the 4-sided light membrane above his head flashes once, and each time the light membrane flashes, a certain odds on it will change. He Pingxing's gaze finally fell upon the odds. There were very few people up there, only 7 in total. The first one, Li Ziwan, odds of 1 to 1.1. The second one, He Pingxing, odds of 1 to 1.2. Puff. He Pingxing immediately spat out a mouthful of fragrant tea. "Damn it. That's fucking amazing." He Pingxing? My name is on it? No, this. He Pingxing opened his mouth wide, indicating that he could not understand. What does it mean that my name appeared in this casino? This shows that the other party knows me very well. Not only do casinos know me well, but ordinary immortals should also know me well. If you don't understand, who the hell would bet on me to win? But the question is, how did they know? He Pingxing put his mind to work, frowning as he pondered. First of all, since he came to Li Muyuan, he has basically never shown his face in public, and he has also strictly forbidden his son, Kong Jiaojiao, and his apprentice Luo Bingyao from publicizing his name. To put it simply, He Pingxing felt that even the Shilling family might not know his real name. What exactly happened? Snap. After thinking for a while, He Pingxing suddenly slapped his thigh. I understand. Han Hoji. It must be that bastard Han Hoji. Damn it, that guy spread my information around? He Pingxing felt incredibly frustrated. Just then, Luo Bingyao suddenly screamed, "Master, you." As she spoke, she raised her hand and pointed her slender fingers at the array light membrane above. As a result, many people in the hall looked at Luo Bingyao and He Pingxing. On the one hand, it's because Luo Bingyao is making a fuss over nothing. On the other hand, Luo Bingyao's appearance is stunning. Of course, what interested everyone even more was that the master Luo Bingyao mentioned was actually 4 levels lower in cultivation than her, only at the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage. He Pingxing glared fiercely at Luo Bingyao, and Luo Bingyao didn't betray him. Instead, she changed her tune and said, You, how come you threw up after drinking tea? Her sudden change of tone caused everyone to stop looking at them. Phew. Luo Bingyao let out a deep sigh. He Pingxing continued reading. He Pingxing recognized the third name on the light film. The odds are 1 to 1.5. Unintentional scheme, hee. Upon seeing this name, He Pingxing chuckled. Ji Wuxin is quite the character. In just over 1,300 years, he has actually made a name for himself. I wonder what Ji Wuxin's cultivation level is now. Back when everyone sailed to Li Muyuan together, he was only at the 3rd level of the Golden Immortal stage. The 4th one, Shilling Qianchen, odds of 1 to 2. 5th, Kong Shengji, odds of 1 to 2. Kong Shengji and He Pingxing naturally didn't know this, but their odds were exactly the same as Shilling Qianchen's. That was somewhat unexpected. 6th, Xin Baobao, odds are 1 to 2.5. The 7th, Dragon Clan's Ao Zun, odds of 1 to 3. Good heavens, there's even a dragon? Apart from Ji Wuxin and himself, He Pingxing didn't recognize any of the other people. However, he had heard of this Shilling Qianchen. After all, he was a genius of the Shilling family. Even if He Pingxing didn't pay attention, Luo Bingyao did, and she often nagged He Pingxing about him. Do you know her? He Pingxing gestured with his chin and asked Luo Bingyao. Luo Bingyao nodded and said, I've heard a little about them all, except for Ji Wuxin and Xin Baobao. This 7th dragon, Ao Zun, goes without saying, he is one of the Dragon Clan's geniuses among Li Muyuan. The Dragon Clan is a major clan in the Immortal Realm, but they are not considered a major clan in our Li Mu star system. Their strength is relatively weak. The same goes for the Phoenix clan and the Qilin clan. In our Li Mu star system, these ancient god clans aren't that great, but their strength shouldn't be underestimated, especially in certain star systems dominated by the Dragon Clan, Phoenix clan, and Qilin clan, then they're formidable. Yes. He Pingxing nodded. Luo Bingyao continued, I don't know who Xin Baobao is in 6th place, I've never heard of her. The 5th-ranked Kong Shengji comes from the Kong family of Beiyuan. It is an old and prominent family above Li Muyuan. Like the Shilling family, it also has an ancestor at the level of a Great Luo Golden Immortal. The difference is that the Great Luo Golden Immortal of the Kong family of Beiyuan is more powerful. Kong Shengji has an 8th grade bloodline, but his cultivation level is unknown. The 4th one is Shilling Qianchen, the holy son of the Shilling family. When Master first arrived, he had just broken through to the Golden Immortal stage. I don't know his current cultivation level. I don't know the 3rd Ji Wuxin. The 2nd one goes without saying. The 1st one, Li Ziwan. When Luo Bingyao mentioned Li Ziwan, she took a sip of her immortal tea and said, strength unknown, cultivation level unknown, background unknown. However, legend has it that she is a descendant of the immortal Emperor Li Mu. This one identity alone is enough to put her in 1st place. He Pingxing also took a deep breath. Good heavens, a descendant of immortal Emperor Li Mu. Esteemed seniors, fellow Taoists. Just then, the fat man behind the counter cupped his hands to the crowd and asked, is anyone else going to bet? If no one is betting on disc number 1, then I'll close it for now and go check disc number 2. The so-called board number 1 is the board we have now. There are 7 people on the board, betting on who will win the overall ranking. A casino certainly doesn't just operate one type of gambling operation. Besides the number 1 board, there's another board for who will make it into the top 10, and another board for which prodigy will fall, and so on. They come in all sorts of varieties. Seeing that no one spoke, the shopkeeper then opened a 2nd plate. The name of the 2nd plate is Number 1 Fighting Power Fixed Investment. In other words, this ranking is not based on overall strength, but only on combat power. This time, there are only 3 people on the plate. First, He Pingxing, odds 1.1. Second, Xin Baobao, odds of 1 to 2. The 3rd one, Ji Wuxin, odds of 1 to 3. Holy crap! He Pingxing's mouth dropped open. This time, They've put me right in first place. Han Hoji, you son of a bitch. Chapter 1324. Someone is impersonating me. Whispering sound. So annoying. Master, you never go out, yet you quietly killed 2 elders of the Shilling family. Moreover, the Shilling family didn't even know your name. How did you suddenly become famous all over the world? Just think of me, Luo Bingyao, and I'm completely unknown. At least let me play one game. Luo Bingyao pouted, looking unconvinced. He Pingxing chuckled and said, these are all just empty titles, they're useless. What you possess is a spiritual root that they could only dream of for 10 lifetimes. What are you afraid of? After an immortal enters the golden immortal realm, the spiritual root within their body transforms into an immortal root, which is then used solely for comprehending the Tao. After the golden immortal, fortune is reshaped. Everything has nothing to do with spiritual roots anymore. However, there is one exception, the ethereal spiritual root. Immortals with ethereal spiritual roots will not face bottlenecks even after reaching the golden immortal realm. For example, Luo Bingyao now. She has the foundation of a 7th grade immortal. Theoretically speaking, as long as she doesn't fall into a killing calamity, she will definitely be able to cultivate to the Tai golden immortal level without losing her wisdom, and there is also a possibility that she can advance to the Deluo golden immortal level. However, she has an empty spiritual root, which means that she will not encounter bottlenecks or obstacles to cultivation at the Tai golden immortal level. So, in other words, while others with a 7th grade spiritual root only have a chance to enter the great Luo golden immortal realm, Luo Bingyao with a 7th grade spiritual root is guaranteed to enter the great Luo golden immortal realm. That's how strong it is. Of course, it will be difficult after Ronaldo. He. Luo Bingyao chuckled. That's true. Just then, a man dressed in a white Taoist robe walked up to Luo Bingyao, cupped his hands in greeting, and smiled broadly. This man was quite handsome. Of course, in the immortal realm, as long as a human doesn't deliberately try to look like an old man or an old woman, he is not ugly. Of course, the demon race is an exception. What? Luo Bingyao, holding a teacup in her left hand, looked up at the man and replied gruffly. The man continued to bow, saying, Greetings, fair lady. My name is Li Zijuan. May I share a table with you? As he spoke, Li Zijuan pointed to the seat opposite Luo Bingyao. Luo Bingyao nodded, her colorful braids swaying a few times. Sit down, this isn't my home, you don't need to ask me. Li Zijuan shook his sleeves and sat down. He Pingxing saw that this guy's cultivation level was also at the golden immortal stage, but he also had 2 Tai golden immortal level guards. He sat down not far from Li Zijuan without making a sound. Although the two were well disguised and seemed to have no connection with Li Zijuan, their divine senses kept scanning the surroundings, which he Pingxing could easily discern. It seems that Li Zijuan's background is quite extraordinary. He, thank you. Li Zijuan stared at Luo Bingyao with interest. May I ask your honorable name, fairy? Luo Bingyao immediately looked impatient. You're really rude. Just because you ask me doesn't mean I have to tell you. Roll. As she spoke, Luo Bingyao waved to Li Zijuan. He Pingxing noticed that the 2 Tai golden immortals behind him immediately frowned and stared at Luo Bingyao with somewhat unfriendly expressions. But since they didn't make a move, he Pingxing naturally wouldn't either. Hey! Li Zijuan, however, showed no anger on his face and said with a smile, Don't be like that. We're all here to participate in the golden feather gathering. Having more friends means having more options. Why is the fairy so unfriendly to us? Let's be friends. TCH. Luo Bingyao didn't say anything more, but rolled her eyes. Feeling awkward, Li Zijuan turned to He Pingxing and cupped his hands in greeting, saying, And this fellow Daoist is. He Pingxing pointed at Luo Bingyao and said, I am her master, and she is my disciple. Oh. Li Zijuan immediately became respectful. So you are a senior. He Pingxing, I am at the 8th level of the golden immortal stage, and you are also at the 8th level. Isn't it inappropriate for you to call me senior? Hehehe. Li Zijuan said, "There's nothing wrong with that. Since you are this fairy's master, then you are my senior, Li Zijuan." He Pingsheng. TCH. Luo Bingyao rolled her eyes again, a look of disdain on his face. "Are you two from out of town?" Li Zijuan asked He Pingsheng. He Pingsheng nodded. Li Zijuan smiled and said, "I am a local and know a lot about the local customs and people. I dare not say that I am omniscient, but I can tell you about them." "Oh?" Luo Bingyao asked with a teasing look, "You know quite a lot." "Not bad." Li Zijuan shamelessly struck up a conversation. "Okay." Luo Bingyao said, "As long as you can answer one of my questions, I'll tell you my name." "Oh." Li Zijuan's eyes lit up immediately, and he said excitedly, "May I ask, fairy?" Luo Bingyao pointed her slender white finger at the light screen on the counter again and said, "You've seen it. This one is ranked number 1. Tell me about it. I want to know what this He Pingsheng's background is, and what his story is." After saying that, Luo Bingyao looked at Li Zijuan and shook her head from side to side, with a smug look on her face. The dense braids on her head looked playful at that moment. Li Zijuan pondered for a moment and said, "He Pingsheng, of course, he is the most outstanding genius in the past 1,000 years among the golden immortals of our Li Muyuan. To be honest, I don't know where he came from. But he was able to instantly kill a Tai Golden Immortal with only the cultivation of the 10th level of the Golden Immortal stage. There are very few people in the entire Li Muyuan who can do that." Heh. Luo Bingyao's mouth dropped open. 10th level of Golden Immortal. Li Zijuan thought Luo Bingyao was just astounded by the 10th layer of the Golden Immortal stage, so he boasted proudly, "Yeah, you didn't mishear, and I didn't misspeak either. He's literally at the 10th layer of Golden Immortal, insta-killing Tai Golden Immortals and slaying foes above his realm." Luo Bingyao paused for a moment, asking, is this news of yours actually accurate?" Li Zijuan replied, 100% genuine. Let me tell you, the Tai Golden Immortal slain by He Pingsheng was none other than the strongest Tai Golden Immortal in the Shilling family, 7th Elder Xianxia. Have you heard of him? Hehehe. Speaking of which, this He Pingsheng is quite a fascinating character. Back then, he was queuing up in Shilling Immortal City for a divination reading when the Shilling family's holy son, Shilling Chen, happened to cut in line ahead of him. A conflict broke out between the two, and Shilling Chen claimed he would let He Pingsheng have 3 free moves. Then He Pingsheng. Ha ha ha. Phut. Li Zijuan vividly recounted an otherwise unremarkable battle with dramatic flair. Luo Bingyao listened with her brow furrowed tight. If she hadn't received a voice transmission from her master, she would have grabbed Li Zijuan right then and there for an interrogation. Good grief. Someone actually dares to impersonate my master's name. He Pingsheng was also thoroughly infuriated, his face turning pitch black at that very moment. Blacker than the bottom of a wok. Of course, as for who the impersonator was, He Pingsheng had a rough guess in his heart. Who the hell else could it be? The only one with the capability to insta-kill a Tai Golden Immortal and the wickedness to frame him for it had to be Han Hoji. It couldn't possibly be anyone else. Chapter 1325 Xin Baobao. Besides Han Hoji, He Pingsheng couldn't think of anyone else who possessed such abilities. The key point is that not only does he possess such ability, he also has a reason to disgust He Pingsheng. HMPH. He Pingsheng snorted coldly, then smiled, instantly adjusting his mindset. Isn't He Pingsheng amazing? Li Zijuan asked Luo Bingyao with a proud look. Luo Bingyao said, "This is a lie." "What rumors?" Li Zijuan said, "Countless people have witnessed this, and it's verifiable. However, although He Pingsheng is powerful, this is the only one he has ever done. Moreover, this guy lured Shilling Qianya out of the city, and nobody knows what methods he used to kill Shilling Qianya. Therefore, in my opinion, He Pingsheng's combat strength is not the strongest. I know there's another person who, although not on this gambling den's list, is probably even stronger than He Pingsheng." Impossible. Luo Bingyao slammed her small, white hand on the table and exclaimed, "Absolutely impossible." Her voice was so loud that it drew the attention of those around her. Luo Bingyao then realized that she had been somewhat out of line, and corrected herself, saying, "One person who kills someone of a higher level is already heaven-defying enough. Are there two more like that?" "Yes." Li Zijuan said, "There's another one, even more powerful." He. In our Li Muyuan region, there is a place filled with bloodshed and violence, called the Black Domain. The Black Domain is not only full of unknown dangers, but also home to all sorts of ruthless people. There is such a person, wielding two mountains, one green and one red, who roams freely in the Black Domain. With his cultivation at the 8th level of the Golden Immortal Realm, he killed more than a dozen Tai Golden Immortals in one go. That's not all. I heard that this guy also offended a certain reclusive Grand Luo Immortal there, but even that Grand Luo Immortal couldn't do anything about him. This shows how terrifying this person is. It's a pity that everyone only knows this guy is holding two small mountains, but doesn't know his name. Of course, no one knows whether he will participate in this year's Golden Feather Gathering, so his name is not on the casino's list. Do you understand what I'm saying? Li Zijuan looked at He Pingsheng and Luo Bingyao. Luo Bingyao looked incredulous. But He Pingsheng took a deep breath. Damn it. I just misunderstood Han Hoji. That's right, this guy holding two small mountains, one green and one red, is Han Hoji. Then, who was the guy who killed Xianxia in Shilling City? Li Zijuan, may I ask you a question? He Pingsheng suddenly asked, do you have a portrait of He Pingsheng here? Oh, yes. Li Zijuan hurriedly took out a jade slip, and poured his magic power into it. A light membrane appeared, and the image displayed on it was none other than Wang Dun. He. He. Hey. He Pingsheng laughed and shook his head, looking helpless. Master. Luo Bingyao was also quite shocked after seeing Wang Dun's portrait, and said, this. Uncle Master Wang, he. She knew Wang Dun. Back in the spirit realm, He Pingsheng, along with the dragon, phoenix, and ancient witch clans, used a scheme to seal Luo Bingyao in the golden bitter small world for hundreds of years. During that time, Wang Dun helped Luo Bingyao break into the Phoenix clan and even saved her life. She naturally knew Wang Dun. Thank you very much. He Pingsheng cupped his hands in thanks to Li Zijuan. There was no displeasure on his face. On the contrary, he looked happy. Brother Wang Dun, at least is still with Li Muyuan. Okay. Last time we came and went in a hurry, but this time we should be able to get together for a longer period of time. You're welcome. Li Zijuan looked very agreeable, then looked at Luo Bingyao and said, then. Before Luo Bingyao could speak, He Pingsheng said, I am Wang Dun, and this is my disciple, Luo Bingyao. Thank you, Senior Wang. Li Zijuan was overjoyed and said to Luo Bingyao with a grin, Fairy Luo, what a wonderful name. As the ancient said, spring water is called Luo, so Luo Bingyao means spring water melting ice. It has a profound and beautiful meaning. Luo Bingyao rolled her eyes at him and said, it's not the Luo you're talking about. Li Zijuan asked, which Luo? Luo Bingyao said, the Luo in camel. Li Zijuan immediately looked embarrassed. The two Tai Golden Immortal guards who came with him almost burst out laughing. Cough. He Pingsheng coughed twice and said, young Master Li, I have another question. Li Zijuan immediately turned his head and respectfully said to He Pingsheng, Senior Wang, please speak. He Pingsheng asked, are you familiar with this Li Zijuan? What is her background, and how strong is she in combat? Li Zijuan said, I don't know either. Li Zijuan is a descendant of Immortal Emperor Li Mu, and the #1 prodigy of the younger generation in the Immortal Emperor's palace. Everything about her is strictly sealed off, so no one knows her specific cultivation level or her background grade. We won't ask about it. We won't ask about this. He Pingsheng nodded. All right. So, who is this Xin Baobao from? Xin Baobao. Li Zijuan laughed heartily and said, I know that. This Xin Baobao comes from the Qianming star system, which is also the largest demon star system in our Li Mu star cluster. So this Xin Baobao is a demon. Moreover, she's a saintess of the demon race. Hehehe. I had the pleasure of meeting her once. This Xin Baobao is quite nice. She likes to wear a dark purple long dress and looks like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. She also carries a narrow knife with a purple handle. The most peculiar thing is that she has long gray-white hair. In short, she's a very peculiar woman. Here is the translation for this section. He Pingxing asked, is her combat power very strong too? Extremely strong. Li Zijuan replied, that woman possesses a magical treasure that conceals her personal luck and fate, so others can't discern her true bloodline talent. However, rumors say she has a rank 8 bloodline. 1,000 years ago, after entering Limu Fence, Xin Baobao once got into a fight with a Tai Golden Immortal powerhouse. That time, word has it that Xin Baobao only unleashed a single blade strike, forcing that Tai Golden Immortal to flee in utter panic. Everyone speculates that if that Tai Golden Immortal hadn't run away, he likely would have been slain by her. On top of that, because everyone here is a Taoist cultivator, they sometimes struggle to adapt to demon sect divine abilities, leaving them bound hand and foot in battle and making it tough to win. He Pingxing said, many thanks. So, how is the strength of Shilling Chen Chen and Kong Shengji? Li Zijuan didn't answer He Pingxing directly. Instead, he let out a somewhat disdainful chuckle and said, those two both possess rank 8 bloodline talents. If they are honed and tempered, they will certainly become figures of towering prominence in due time. There is even hope for them to break through to the Deluo Golden Immortal realm. As for right now, though, he. Chapter 1326 Heavenly Saintess. So, that's all the prodigies there are at this Golden Feather Gathering. Luo Bingyao was a little disappointed. She thought she would see many outstanding talents, but now it seems that it is not so satisfactory. No. Li Zijuan shook his head and said, that's not how it is. Hehehe. This time, it seems a little different. He Pingxing asked, what's different? Li Zijuan said, with the Golden Feather Gathering approaching, geniuses from various families are appearing one after another. This is definitely not normal. I suspect that the period of a great explosion of peerless geniuses in our Li Mu star system has arrived. Let me put it this way, the Shilling family and the Kong family of Beiyuan have both produced 8th grade geniuses, so other families may have had them too, and they may have even had them long ago. These prodigies who have surfaced now are just the beginning. When the Golden Feather Gathering officially begins in a month, who knows how many geniuses will emerge? He Pingxing nodded. Luo Bingyao then asked, Brother Li, do you know the specifics of how the Golden Feather Gathering will be conducted? I don't know. Li Zijuan shook his head and said, the specific competition rules haven't been made public yet, but thinking about it, it's obvious that there are only a few types. I heard from a rumor that there are quite a few events in this competition, and the Immortal Emperor is taking it very seriously. It's probably going to be a comprehensive exam. He Pingxing asked, all subjects? Yes. Li Zijuan said, there are 7 or 8 subjects in total, including divine sense, strength, immortal essence, supernatural powers, combat power, speed, and comprehension. Of course, the specific scoring weights are different, but combat strength should have the highest score. Luo Bingyao counted on her fingers and said, that makes 7 subjects. Li Zijuan said, perhaps there are 8, the last one hasn't been decided yet. Luo Bingyao asked, then what's the last one? Li Zijuan said, it hasn't been finalized yet, so I don't know. As the group was talking, another person suddenly entered through the casino entrance. Despite his short stature, everyone was surprised the moment their eyes fell upon him. He Pingxing's eyes narrowed slightly. But then they saw a little girl who looked only 13 or 14 years old standing at the door. Although she looks only 13 or 14 years old, her cultivation level has already reached the peak of the Golden Immortal stage. This person was 5 feet tall and wore a dark purple Taoist robe with grey and white cloud patterns embroidered on it. The little girl's hair hung down, neatly cut off at her neck, looking clean and tidy, but a ponytail fell from the back of her head down to her waist. All her hair was grey. Her round little face still looked childish, and her big eyes blinked. At first glance, she was extremely cute, but upon closer inspection, one could see that her eyes held a cold, surging light, like the Grim Reaper. A purple-handled sword hung from the girl's right waist, and her every move exuded murderous intent. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Upon seeing the little girl at the door, Li Zijuan shrank back slightly and whispered to Luo Bingyao, "Here she comes. This is the little witch, the heavenly nether saintess, Xin Baobao. It's her." He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao were both quite surprised. Many people in the hall recognized Xin Baobao and were whispering among themselves. This child is so cute. Cute? Hair. Take a closer look. This is the heavenly nether saintess, the demon clan saintess Xin Baobao. It's her. Is she the one who defeated a Tai golden immortal with a single strike? I suspect she could have killed him with a single strike, she just wasn't using her full strength. Hiss hiss hiss. How did she get here? Xin Baobao was all alone, stepping into the casino amidst the murmurs of the crowd. Under the gaze of countless people, she slowly made her way to He Pingxing's seat. Then he sat down opposite He Pingxing. He didn't say a word the entire time, nor did he greet anyone. The waiter brought a cup of celestial tea and placed it in front of Xin Baobao. Xin Baobao didn't say thank you, but simply reached out her chubby little hand, took the spiritual tea, and drank it all in one gulp. Then, those eyes, like purple gemstones, fixed on He Pingxing. Yes, this little girl has purple eyes. HMPH. Luo Bingyao snorted coldly from the side, looking displeased. He Pingxing felt uncomfortable being stared at like that, but he didn't know how to start the conversation. So he picked up the teacup in front of him and slowly took a couple of sips to cover up his embarrassment. You. The little girl finally spoke, pointing at Li Zijuan, "Get me a different seat." Li Zijuan was an easygoing person. He smiled awkwardly, stood up, and said, "Please, please, please." He couldn't be happier with this, because then he could openly sit with Luo Bingyao instead of sitting opposite her. After the change of positions, Li Zijuan and He Pingxing were opposite each other, while Luo Bingyao and Xin Baobao were opposite each other. Xin Baobao even moved her body to the corner of the table, almost touching He Pingxing. At this moment, He Pingxing finally couldn't bear it any longer and asked, "Little sister, is there a problem?" Xin Baobao didn't answer, but instead asked, "What's your name?" He Pingxing smiled and said, "My name is Wang Dun." Xin Baobao said, "You have the aura of a demon on you." She speaks very slowly, almost uttering each word one by one. He Pingxing frowned slightly. He was very confident that the Taishu Xuanmo scripture could instantly transform the demonic energy in his body into the 5 elements of Xianmen energy, completely and thoroughly, leaving not a trace behind. How can this woman still smell the demonic aura on me? Could there be any residue left? He Pingxing chuckled and said, "I have indeed cultivated the demonic sex techniques and supernatural abilities. There's nothing wrong with admitting it." He Pingxing knew that, at least on Li Muyuan's side, there was no problem with cultivating demonic techniques and supernatural powers, and it wouldn't attract the pursuit of the Xianmen. There is no concept of subduing demons and monsters in the celestial realm. Otherwise, this little girl from the demonic path wouldn't have come to Li Muyuan to participate in the Golden Feather Gathering. The fact that she was allowed to come shows that the people here accept the demon race. No. Xin Baobao shook her head. "That's not what I meant. You possess the aura of the great Tao." Upon hearing this, He Pingxing instantly understood. Because within his own body, there were once 9 great Tao orders imprinted with the great Tao of demonic law. No wonder this woman could smell the demonic aura on me. All right. He Pingxing didn't know what else to say. The demon saintess Xin Baobao actually closed her eyes, seemingly trying to comprehend something. After about half an incense stick's time, He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao got up. "Excuse me." He Pingxing smiled and cupped his hands in apology to Li Zijuan, I still have some things to attend to. He's just here to take a look. He doesn't intend to gamble. Next, I need to go to the Chamber of Commerce to see if I can buy some items. As a result, He Pingxing had only taken 2 steps after getting up when he discovered that the 5-foot-tall girl had actually followed him over. Hey! Chapter 1327 Purchase Limit. Outside the casino, the sun was shining brightly. The sunlight wasn't glaring, it was quite gentle. He Pingxing stopped after taking only a few steps. Then, Xin Baobao, the demon saintess who looked only 13 or 14 years old, also stopped. Hey! Luo Bingyao couldn't help but ask, why are you always following me around? She was about to get angry. Xin Baobao pointed at He Pingxing and said, I'm with him, not with you. You! Luo Bingyao was speechless with anger, and was so angry that she didn't know what to say. He Pingxing asked, then what are you doing with me? Xin Baobao said, enlightenment. Good heavens! He Pingxing almost broke out in a sweat. You've comprehended the great order of the demonic path within me? This. As they were talking, Li Zijuan also came out of the casino and approached Luo Bingyao with a grin. Luo Bingyao's sharp eyes and cold demeanor prompted her to ask, what are you doing following us? Li Zijuan said, we have nothing else to do anyway, and it's not easy to meet a like-minded friend, so let's chat together. Luo Bingyao said fiercely, get out. And you get out of here too. As Luo Bingyao spoke, she pulled He Pingxing away. Li Zijuan and the demon saintess did not follow. Seeing that they hadn't followed, Luo Bingyao breathed a sigh of relief and said, finally, I'm rid of them. They were so annoying. He Pingxing remained silent. After a few breaths, Luo Bingyao's face lit up with a bright smile again, and she asked, Master, am I beautiful? He Pingxing glanced at her indifferently and said, not bad. What do you mean by not bad? Luo Bingyao asked with dissatisfaction. Can't you see that Li Zijuan is completely infatuated with me? He Pingxing said, I didn't see it. After saying that, he continued walking forward. A magnificent grand hall stood on the right. This main hall is very large, with a width of 1,000 feet and 9 stories above. Above the main hall's entrance hangs a sign with 4 large characters, Chenyu Chamber of Commerce. Good heavens! That's a very grand name. People were coming and going all around, bustling about. Many people come and go here. Let's go. He Pingxing said, let's go in and take a look. The two entered the massive Chamber of Commerce. As soon as you enter, a cacophony of noise hits you. From the inside, the Chamber of Commerce appears even larger. There are more than 200 saleswomen just to greet customers at the door. Upon seeing He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao enter, someone naturally came forward. Senior. A woman bowed respectfully to He Pingxing and said, please show your ascension token, Senior. Heh. Luo Bingyao asked, do we need a heavenly ascension token here too? Yes, Senior, the woman said. Different ascension tokens allow access to different floors. All right. He Pingxing and Luo Bingyao each took out their own ascension cards. The female immortal master took Luo Bingyao's ascension token and looked at it. She was shocked and said, Senior is actually a golden immortal at the 9th level with a score of 99. Then you must be here to participate in the Golden Feather Gathering. Please come in, honored guest. In our Chamber of Commerce, except for the top 9th floor, you can freely enter and exit the other 8 floors. Oh. Luo Bingyao asked, then, what kind of identity is needed to enter the 9th level? He. Senior, you misunderstand, the woman quickly explained. The 9th floor is not a chamber of commerce, but a place that organizes auctions and trade fairs. Therefore, it's not usually open to the public, which means you can access all the merchandise floors in our Chamber of Commerce. Luo Bingyao understood. Thank you, I see. The woman then took out a purple token. With this token, you can freely enter and exit any floor. Next, the woman picked up He Pingxing's ascension token, glanced at it, and said, Senior, it's the same. Please keep your token safe. She also gave He Pingxing a purple tag. However, in her last fleeting glance, she saw the name He Pingxing on the sign, and the woman immediately covered her mouth in shock. You are actually He Ping. He Pingxing's name had long been known, and he was also among the top-ranked in the casino, so it wasn't surprising that the woman recognized him. He Pingxing then raised his index finger to his lips, making a shushing gesture. Yes, I understand. The woman seemed very excited. After all, I saw a legendary figure. However, she also had some doubts. Legend has it that He Pingxing was a dark-faced guy, so why does his face still look quite white now? Please, Senior He. The woman pointed towards the stairs. Each floor has a corresponding attendant to serve you. Within this merchant guild, the higher the floor, the higher the value and grade of the goods. Enjoy your shopping. Thank you. He Pingxing nodded politely, then slowly walked to the stairwell and went up floor by floor. Luo Bingyaro followed behind him. On the stairs, immortals came and went, constantly brushing past each other. Luo Bingyao asked telepathically, Master, what do you want to buy? Your disciple will keep an eye on it for you. He Pingxing said, I want to buy some classic books. For example, classics on alchemy, formations, and talisman making. Most of the previously enhanced scriptures were only up to the 5th rank. For example, elixirs can only be refined into 5-stage golden elixirs. Even immortal talismans can only be drawn to the 5th or 6th grade. The same applies to formations. These are no longer sufficient to meet his needs. Of course, besides these, He Pingxing also wanted to find a permanent place to live in Li Muyuan's immortal Emperor City. We arrived at the 2nd floor first. He Pingxing didn't go to the shelves at all. Instead, he scanned the area with his divine sense and discovered that the items there were for use by immortals at the Earth Immortal level. Then there's no need to go in. He Pingxing did not go into the next 3, 4, or even 5 floors. He stepped onto the 6th floor. Logically speaking, the items in this 6th level should be prepared for immortals at the Tai Golden Immortal level. However, He Pingxing discovered upon entering that this was not the case. Here, these are only items used by golden immortals, mostly 4th and 5th grade items. The 7th floor. I finally saw what I wanted. He Pingxing led Luo Bingyaro straight inside. This 7th floor is not entirely composed of 6th grade items. Most of them were 5th rank officials, with less than 1/10 being 6th rank officials. There are various 6th grade immortal artifacts, immortal talismans, elixirs, and more. However, there are very few types of talismans here, and most of them are auxiliary. For example, it can increase one's spiritual power, comprehension, and so on. There are very few offensive and defensive plays. But it's not impossible. He Pingxing casually picked up 2 defensive talismans and 1 offensive talisman. Excuse me. Just as He Pingxing received the talisman, an elder at the profound immortal stage approached him and said respectfully, Senior, each person is limited to 1 6th grade talisman. Good grief, there's a purchase limit. He Pingxing thought for a moment and chose a defensive talisman. This was prepared for Luo Bingyaro, he no longer needs it. A 6th grade immortal talisman was of no use to He Pingxing. Chapter 1328 I am Wang Dun. A 6th grade immortal talisman is not a particularly valuable item for this kind of merchant guild. They didn't want the fairy crystals in the first place. However, when He Pingxing took out the top-grade immortal crystals, the Chamber of Commerce immediately changed its mind and accepted He Pingxing's top-grade immortal crystals. Having obtained a defensive talisman, He Pingxing immediately tossed it into the treasure basin. Master, why did you buy him? Luo Bingyaro asked, puzzled. He Pingxing smiled and said, let's study it. Actually, I am a genius in the art of talisman making, one in billions of years. I think the defensive immortal talisman is quite good. I will go back and study it, and then I can draw a top-quality one. I'll draw a top-quality one later, and it'll be yours to use. Oh! Luo Bingyao exclaimed with delight, Master is so good to me. She took He Pingxing's hand and then strolled around the 7th floor. This is a 6th grade time origin. Seeing He Pingxing standing in front of a massive origin, The Xianxia-level salesperson respectfully introduced it to He Pingxing. This origin was entrusted to us by a fellow Daoist. She wants to use this time origin to exchange for a space origin. If you don't have the origin of space, a space spring and autumn great Dao pill will do. Of course, in terms of grade, it must be at least grade 6. He Ping smiled, then waved his hand and took out a 6th grade spatial origin, saying, I want this time origin. Whether it's the origin of space or the origin of time, He Pingxing has a lot. Moreover, he also enhanced this thing into 2 copies. After enhancement, the 2 copies are exactly the same, and the laws of the Great Tao contained within them are also exactly the same. Naturally, there is no need to devour and comprehend both of them. Devouring one is enough. Therefore, for each kind of origin, He Pingxing had an extra one. Besides giving them to the disciples, the second way to exchange them was through trade. Xianxia, the sales assistant, said, That's fine, but you'll need to pay some brokerage fees, Xianxia. He Pingxing paid some more high-grade immortal crystals. After all, we can't let the Chamber of Commerce work for nothing. They're also doing consignment sales. He Pingxing circled the 7th floor but did not find the elixirs, talismans, or array formations he needed. Yes, it exists, but the required level is still insufficient. There's nothing we can do about that. We can only go to the last floor. The 8th floor. The 8th floor is a little different from the 6th and 7th floors. On the 6th and 7th floors, each product has a dedicated display stand. Most of the booths were about 3 feet square. There is a transparent array of light film on the booth, which allows customers to clearly see the Chamber of Commerce inside the light film. If needed, the product will be taken out of the array of light film by the sales staff. The 8th floor is different. The 8th floor is also very large, but there are relatively fewer items. Moreover, each item is provided with a small room. That's right, 1 room per item. To view the merchandise, you have to go into each small room to learn more. The key point is that these rooms are also wrapped in a material that can block divine sense, so you can't even scan them with your divine sense. He Pingxing wasn't in a hurry, so he led Luo Bingyao to look at them one by one. I looked at dozens of them in one go, but I still couldn't find what I was looking for. Even so, He Pingxing was still amazed by the items here. Not all items here are grade 7. Only a portion of them are of the 7th rank. 7th grade immortal materials are of a level that matches the Great Luo Immortal, so their prices are naturally astoundingly high. However, even some 6th or 5th grade immortal materials are priceless. Items that can be found on the 8th floor must either be of a sufficiently high level or be extremely rare. Unfortunately, He Pingxing did not see the classic text he wanted. After wandering around for a while, I suddenly discovered a kind of elixir. There was a display stand about 3 feet tall in the room, with a transparent array of light membranes on it, and inside the light membranes was a porcelain bottle. There was also information displayed on the booth. Name: Rejuvenating Golden Elixir. Grade: Rank 6. Low grade. Description: After being consumed by a Tai Golden Immortal level cultivator, this pill can increase their divine sense by 30%. If the sea of consciousness is damaged, consuming this pill can accelerate the recovery process. This is a good thing. Hey, come here. He Pingxing waved to the nearest sales assistant. The sales assistant then ran over with a smile. The sales guides on the 8th floor are mostly at the Xianxia stage. Of course, besides the sales assistants, there is also an elder on this 8th floor. The elder's cultivation level should be at the Tai Golden Immortal stage. Senior, this item is quite good, but I must remind you of something. The sales assistant looked at He Pingxing and bowed respectfully. He Pingxing said, You speak. The man said, if the Golden Feather Gathering is held later, and there is a competition of divine sense, even if you have purchased this item, you cannot consume it during the competition. Otherwise, it will be considered a violation of the rules. He Pingxing smiled and shook his head, saying, Don't worry, it won't happen. How many are in this bottle? What's the price? The sales assistant said, There are 2 in the bottle. As for the price, we only need to barter, we don't need any immortal crystals. What do you have, Senior? Of course, if you need, I can go and call the elder over now so you can talk to him in person. All right. He Pingxing nodded. Go and call them. The sales assistant left immediately. Feeling bored, He Pingxing left the room to look at the surrounding goods. Just then, he suddenly heard a very familiar voice. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. Don't worry, Fairy Tantai, leave this matter to me, He Pingxing. I guarantee you'll be satisfied, he. It was the voice of a rather frivolous man. Upon hearing this voice, Luo Bingyao's face immediately turned furious, and she was almost ready to draw her sword. He Pingxing smiled, suppressed her anger, and made a shushing gesture. From behind the house, another clear female voice came, then I'll have to trouble fellow Daoist he. Fellow Daoist he, I've heard that the Chamber of Commerce will be holding a large-scale trade fair soon, allowing us immortals who have come to participate in the Golden Feather Gathering to exchange goods and services. I wonder if you will participate. The man's voice immediately lit up with joy. Great. I love a lively atmosphere. As they were talking, a man and a woman came around from behind the house. The moment Wang Dun saw He Pingxing, he froze. HMH. Luo Bingyao crossed her arms, her intricate braids trembling slightly. She raised her face, looked at Wang Dun with her chin, and said, Uncle Master, look who is this person next to me. Wang Dun hid behind the woman, peeking out to glare at He Pingxing, looking as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. He was about to be exposed for impersonating someone else. The woman beside Wang Dun asked, Fellow Daoist he, do you know each other? Well. Wang Dun's face was covered in sweat. He Pingxing smiled, cupped his hands in greeting to the woman, and said, Greetings, Fairy Tantai. I am his junior brother, and he is my senior brother. I am Wang Dun. Call. Upon hearing this, Wang Dun breathed a deep sigh of relief and gave He Pingxing a thumbs up. Chapter 1329 3-day experience card for a great Luo Golden Immortal friendly relationship. Fairy Tantai bowed slightly to He Pingxing. He Pingxing's gaze then truly fell upon the woman. Upon closer inspection, I was quite alarmed. What a beautiful woman! The woman was dressed in a plain white Taoist robe, her black hair flowed like a waterfall, and her facial features were so beautiful that they could almost be described as perfect. To put it simply, if we only consider appearance, this woman is almost on par with Wen Buan. No wonder she could be so infatuated with senior brother Wang. He Pingxing subtly activated his fiery eyes, supernatural power and scanned Fairy Tantai. The 12 levels of the Golden Immortal stage. It's obvious at a glance that they deliberately held back their cultivation level for the Golden Feather Gathering. They're probably using the same tactic as Luo Bingyao. However, this woman's luck is much better than Luo Bingyao's. She's an 8th rank official. That's right. Another 8th rank official. And the key point is that he's an 8th rank official who wasn't even on the gambling dens list. It just goes to show how well the Tantai family has managed to keep information under wraps. Let me introduce you. Wang Dun smiled and pointed to He Pingxing, saying, Fairy Tantai, this is my junior brother Wang Dun. Don't you think this name is cool? Fairy Tantai smiled and said, Not bad. Wang Dun added, He, junior brother Wang, this fairy is extraordinary. She is the holy maiden of the Tantai family, one of the 6 great families in the entire Li Muyuan, and her name is Tantai Chijuan. Wow! He Pingxing was slightly moved when he heard the name. Good heavens, this woman actually gave herself a man's name. He, this is my junior apprentice, Luo Bingyao. Hello. Tantai Chijuan greeted He Pingxing and his companion with a polite smile. Wang Dun slapped her again and said, Junior brother, let me tell you, Fairy Tantai is the most beautiful woman in our Li Muyuan. Everyone who has seen her agrees on this title. I'm warning you, don't even think about making a move on her. At this point, Tantai Chijuan smiled. Her smile held both confidence and amusement. It must be said that the title of number 1 beauty is well deserved. Just then, the Tai level elder arrived and asked, Distinguished guests, who wants this rejuvenating golden pill? He Pingxing quickly raised his hand and said, It is this junior. Come on in. Tai Jingxian waved his sleeves and led He Pingxing and Luo Bingyaro into the small room. He Pingxing even called out, "Senior brother, don't go. Wait for me a moment." Having finally spotted He Pingxing, Wang Dun naturally wasn't going to leave. He and Tan Tai Chijuan strolled around the area. The rejuvenating golden elixir is not of high grade, but it is extremely rare. Because one of the main ingredients cannot be cultivated artificially and can only be found in the wild, it is extremely rare. As the saying goes, things are valued for their rarity, and 6th-grade elixirs are therefore extremely expensive. But it's okay. He Pingxing has even rarer items here. He exchanged a top-grade, spirit-assisting heaven-connecting pill, 4 rejuvenating golden pills. A 5th-grade item can be exchanged for a 6th-grade item, 1 item for 2, and a top-grade item for a lower-grade item. As one's cultivation level increases, when exchanging goods, it becomes impossible to achieve a complete equivalence of value. Everything depends on demand. Whether you suffer a loss or gain a benefit can no longer be measured by simple paper value. After the exchange, He Pingxing immediately threw the 2 rejuvenating golden pills into the treasure basin to strengthen them. "Master Uncle, how many years has it been since I last saw you?" Meanwhile, Luo Bingyaro and Wang Dun had already started chatting. Wang Dun chuckled and said, "Of course. Let me do the math. It's been over 10,000 years. Luo Bingyaro said, "It's been over 10,000 years since we last met. How can you be so shameless as to come empty-handed?" Wang Dun laughed heartily, "Of course not. Wait a minute. I'll give you something fun." Snap. Wang Dun took out a jade token and tossed it to Luo Bingyaro, saying, "This thing isn't a celestial artifact, it's a one-time consumable. Once activated, it will allow you to enter an invisible state, so even a great Luo Golden Immortal can't see through you. It's a lifesaver." "Thank you, senior uncle." Luo Bingyaro happily put away the jade token and said, "This is good. I can, hee. Uncle Master, it's just a little trinket. Could you please give me 10 or 8 immortal artifacts? I don't have any immortal artifacts to use." Heh. Wang Dun frowned. "Isn't this ridiculous? Your master won't even give you a celestial artifact." Luo Bingyao looked aggrieved. "Yes. Don't worry." Wang Dun said, "This is no problem for your senior uncle. Wait a moment, let me take a look." Damn it, so many rings haven't been inventoried. TSK. This must be the ring I killed at Xianxia, right? Let me see if there's anything good inside. Wait a minute. Would a 6th-grade immortal artifact work? This is a long sword with lightning attributes. Wang Dun took out a sword and gave it to Luo Bingyaro. He Pingxing glanced at it and said, "Not bad, it's a top-quality piece." Hehehe. Luo Bingyaro said, "Thank you, senior uncle." Wang Dun said, "Wait a moment, let me take another look. Look, there's a 6th-rank one here, and another 6th-rank one here, and, how many more are there? Are there 10 items?" Wang Dun looked at Luo Bingyaro with a serious expression. Luo Bingyaro said, "That's enough. Senior uncle is so kind. Uncle Master, how come you have so many treasures on you?" Wang Dun chuckled and said, "This kind of treasure, can't we just kill a couple of Tai Golden Immortals and get it?" The elder of the Chamber of Commerce, who had just completed a transaction with He Pingxing and hadn't gone far, twitched several times upon hearing this. "Do you still want the original source?" Wang Dun asked. "I have quite a few original sources here." Luo Bingyaro said, "My master is currently lacking spatial and temporal origins. If you have any extras, please give some to him." Wang Dun continued his scavenging, taking out more than a dozen 6th-grade time and space origin stones and tossing them to He Pingxing. Take them. He Pingxing naturally wouldn't stand on ceremony. "Junior brother, come here, I need to talk to you about something." Wang Dun pulled He Pingxing a few steps to the side, then directly activated a protective barrier to prevent outside divine senses from entering. Hehehe. Wang Dun stretched out his hand. Give me the plaque. He Pingxing looked completely bewildered. What brand? Damn it. Why are you pretending to be confused? Wang Dun said, the Ascension token. Let's switch them. As he spoke, he took out his Ascension token. He Pingxing then understood Wang Dun's meaning, and also took out the Ascension token, and the two exchanged tokens. Brother, keep this a secret. I'll be able to get this woman in the next couple of days. Wait a minute, I'll give you something else. Wang Dun suddenly looked up at the void in front of him at a 45-degree angle, made some dots and circles, and then magically took out a card and handed it to He Pingxing. He Pingxing looked at the card. There was no information on it, only that it was a purple card. What is this? He asked. Wang Dun said, trial card. He Pingxing was even more bewildered. Trial card. Wang Dun said, Great Luo Golden Immortal, a 3-day trial card. Thank you for listening to PandaAudioBooks. If you love what you hear and want to support my work, check out the PayPal link in the description. Every bit helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell to stay updated with all our latest audiobook chapters. We'll see you in the next one.